I want to briefly go over with you guys a little bit about why portfolios matter. So, here's one of my portfolios. This is one that I maintain a decent amount. It's not as updated as it should be, but I get kind of busy working, right? So, portfolios are important. Granted, when you apply for a job or apply for a school, you also will probably have, a transcript and a resume, and those are good too because they do say, like, yes, these are skills that I officially have. Here are my credentials, here shows that I graduate from whatever with these classes, and it's officially shown by whatever, or here's my resume, and these are the companies and the people you can contact to verify that, and that's important. But it doesn't necessarily show what you can do, right? It says what you can do, and they can see you have those skills, but how do they know if you're a good photographer, right? You're like, oh, well, I made A's in my photography class or whatever, but they can't necessarily see it. And not only that, but does your style match what they're looking for, right? So if I have a portfolio and I have my photography in it, then you can actually see, the type of photos that I've taken and see does that match what you need, what you need for that project or for that job. If I have, photographs of people, like does it match the style that you're looking for in that job, right? So that's kind of the idea of a portfolio is that you're able to show like not only am I saying I can do this, but let me actually show you the quality of my work. Now, that is important from a job perspective, right? They want to see does the person actually have the skills that they're saying they do. But the other thing too is it's also important from your perspective, right? So using that photography example again, if you were to look through my portfolio and find other photography ones, you won't see a lot of posed photography. Almost all of my photography is done as people are just doing things, right? So it's reportage style photography, it's event style photography. I don't have pictures of people posed, right? And so if I was looking into photography jobs, or someone from a photography company was looking into my work, and all they wanted was like posed style photography, that's not what I do. And I would not enjoy that job, and I probably wouldn't be very good at it. So them seeing the type of work that I do in that area helps them see does it look like I'm a good match for that job, right? And that's good for me too because I don't want a job that's only doing that sort of thing. I like photography where I'm taking photographs of events and people just doing things, not pose style. I don't want to say like, okay, you stand here and you stand there and oh, you're a little bit taller, move to the back. But I don't want to do that, right? That's not my interest. So that also moves into the next idea too of your portfolio should be helping you earn or look for the types of jobs or positions that you want. So I was mentioning photography, and I've got a lot of non-photography on here, right? So it depends on sort of what you're aiming at, right? If I was looking at just photography jobs, this would be not a good portfolio because I've got so much not photography on here. But I'm not looking at a photography job, right? I'm in education. And so if you look at my portfolio, I've got a lot of creative mediums, right? I've got digital painting, I've got some digital art that I made with code, I've got some little applications that I programmed, I've got a little like retro style game I programmed. I do have some traditional art, right, with charcoal. I've got some digital paintings, photography editing, um, some curriculum design. So all of this is in the creative area, right? And for education, that's not bad because I'm not showing science and English and history and math. I'm showing just the sorts of things that I can create, right? Because what I'm interested in doing is showing students how to make things, right? So this matches what I want to do. If I was applying for just a programming job or just a digital art job, then like I've got way too much other stuff and I would want to modify this to match the job that I'm looking for, both in content but also in style too, right? If I'm looking at digital art jobs and they're looking for someone who works in a lot of like fantasy style art, right? Then if I have a lot of art that's like scientific illustrations done digitally, then I may or may not be a good match, right? So you also want to show sort of the style that you're working in so they can see does it look like this person is a good match for our company. Now, portfolios are important for the workforce. They can also be important for schools as well. And that also changes the perspective a little bit, right? Because I was talking about for going into like a creative field, I might need to narrow this down. If I was looking at going into university or college, this might be too narrow, right? If I'm looking at, my first degree from a university, that is a fairly generalized education, right? There is going to be some science work, there's going to be some history classes, some English. So in that regard, I might need to make this more broad to show that yes, I do have a wide variety of educational experiences, and holistically, I do have um, a very well rounded education, right? So it depends on what you're looking for as far as what sorts of things should be on your portfolio. On the other hand, if you've finished university and you're going for like grad school, or if you're looking at a very specific specialized degree at a school, then you might need to make it more narrow or have some areas that are more developed to show like, yes, I do have some science stuff, but let me show you the really amazing artwork that I've been creating for this art program that I'm applying for, right? So it varies a little bit what your portfolio should look like depending on what sort of jobs you're interested in getting or what sort of positions, schools, etc. you're looking at going to, right? It depends, right? So, but a portfolio is something good to do and something good to create. And even if you're not really, if you don't feel like you're ready for it yet, that's okay. Like you should start with what you have, and then over time you build it. You go through and you look every once in a while, like, do I want to remove this? Do I want to keep that? What do I want to do, right? And then you're gradually building it as you go, instead of like, you need a portfolio next week and you have nothing, right? It's much easier to gradually go along, adding things here and there, than trying to rush it last minute and find everything.